Warren Harding faces Lakewood St. Ed's in the playoffs for the third straight year. In 2001, Maurice Claret led the Raiders to a 42-26 win. Last season, Joe Spain's field goal with just 5 seconds left gave Harding an 18-16 win. Warren will go for the sweep next on Fox 17 62.
I think on the first play from scrimmage, they went all the way for a touchdown. So whether it's superstition or just having confidence in your offense, Warren Harding wanted the ball tonight.
So the Raiders always dangerous when they take the opening kickoff, and back deep for Harding tonight. Number 1, Mario Manningham. Number 8, Thaddeus Walker. Manningham this season averaging 22 yards per kickoff return. Walker averaging about 18 yards per return. Joe Kleinsmith puts the ball in play, and we are underway. Thaddeus Walker from the 9-yard line. Walker tackled at the 24-yard line, hit by the Eagles' Patrick Highland. So the Raiders offense will get the football to begin tonight's game. Here's a look at the starting offensive line for Warren Harding. Jeff Michalakis will start at center tonight. The tackles Rocco Cerrone and Dante Campbell. The guards Lonnie McDonald and Mark K. Allen. The tight end is Anthony Hoke. And this offense centered around the play of quarterback Alex Ingram. His top back will be Richard Davis with Deshaun Robinson in at fullback to open things up for Warren Harding offensively. The wideouts tonight will be Joe Finnessy, Mario Manningham, and Pete Sparks. And Manningham the most dangerous of that trio, which will line up at the top of your screen to begin the game. Ingram's first pass will go to Manningham. Watch him work his magic out to the 30-yard line. Edge gang tackles him there for Manningham. It's his 27th catch of the season, and this is the defense in which Warren Harding will be facing throughout the course of the night. St. Ed's will start defensively with the ends of Ryan Rappas and Ryan Mirando. The tackles Nate Smith and Ryan Atkins. The outside linebackers Jim Harrison and Bob Norman. Inside Ryan Bailey. The two cornerbacks defensively for the Eagles, Neil Jareb and Anthony Gardner, who will double as the starting quarterback. Joe Kleinsmith, who does just about everything for St. Ed's, is the safety, and Haruki Nakamura is the free safety for that St. Ed's defense. Gain of about 5 on first down for Harding. So from the 30, it's a give to Richard Davis. He'll go down at the 31-yard line. Davis a week ago had an outstanding first half in the win against Solon. He carried the ball 10 times for 192 yards and had 3 touchdowns and opened the game with a 65-yard scamper for one of those 3 scores.
Yeah, I like what Harding did early on. They went 1 pass, 1 run, so not showing too much about what they're going to do, but obviously this is a very diverse type of offense. They could do either or pretty well.
Raiders averaging about 206 yards a game on the ground, about 129 through the air. Third down from the 31. Ingram in the gun for Warren Harding. Off the fake to Davis. Ingram going to keep it himself and has the first down as he carries the ball out to the 38-yard line. He is a double threat. Alex Ingram with a gain of 7. Coming into the game, he had been averaging about 4 yards a carry. That's his 72nd rush of the season. He's now gone over 300 yards rushing this year for Harding.
Yeah, I really like the play call there. Alex Ingram didn't have to do much running last week. This time gives a nice play fake to Richard Davis. Davis takes the linebackers with him, and he's able to pick up the first down.
So the Raiders with their initial first down of the night against the Eds defense. Toss sweep Richard Davis. Follows Robinson around the corner. Grabbed by Kleinsmith and yanked to the ground at the 40-yard line. So a gain of 2. Davis for the season, coming into tonight's game, had 914 yards rushing, has verbally committed to play his college football for the University of Toledo. There's a look at Alex Ingram, who transferred in this season. Ingram this year with an outstanding touchdown to interception ratio. We talked about it a week ago in the victory against Solon. Ingram this season, 18 touchdown passes. He has been picked just once. From the 40 on second and long, give to Richard Davis. He'll be dropped in the backfield, tackled by the Eagles' Neil Jareb, the 5'11", 200-pound senior. Davis will be stopped after a loss of 1.
Give credit to that St. Ed's defense. So far, they're putting a little pressure on that run game, able to shoot the gaps and disturb what John Richardson and Richard Davis want to do back there. And when they ran wide, they were also able to contain it there. So nice job so far for the St. Ed's defensive line.
Less than 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter. This is the opening drive of the night. Warren Harding's already converted on a third down opportunity. They're faced with one here from their own 39. Alex Ingram out of the gun. Manningham in motion. And penalty flags for the first time tonight. The Raiders are averaging roughly 6 penalties a game this season. Our first flag of the night will be a dead ball foul or delay of the game against the Raiders. That'll be a 5-yard infraction, taking the ball back to the 34. Here's a look at our officiating crew for the night. Dennis Burtko, who you just saw there, will be our referee. The umpire, Dave McRoberts. The linesman, Brad Huntley. Kevin Pouchet will be the line judge, and the back judge tonight will be Dave Rogers. So 3rd and 14 for the Raiders now from the 34-yard line. Ingram off the straight run, and he's got a lane, and he fumbled the football. Now the Raiders signify that they have recovered the loose ball. It would be short of the first down, even if they have possession.
It looked like Marquis Allen got in there late.
And actually, I think coming out of it's Dante Campbell with the ball. Yeah, there's Marquis Allen, 58, coming out late, but it was number 75, Dante Campbell, with the recovery. Watch it again.
A pretty surprising play call. Alex Grindham again on the straight run. Has a good head of steam on him, and he's met right there by Haruki Nakamura, who hits the ball. And there you see.
Yeah, it looked like Marquis Allen had it initially. Isaac Chaney to punt. This season averaging 34.5 yards a boot. Nakamura will let this one roll, and it'll take a favorable Raider bounce and continue to roll inside the St. Ed's 5-yard line. And finally, Anthony Hoke will down the ball on the Eagles' 3. And that's where Lakewood St. Ed's will start offensively for the first time tonight. Boy, for the Harding defense, to have St. Ed's in a hole such as this, Ralph, really plays into their favor.
And really, St. Ed's, they nearly blocked the punt, played good defense, and now end up getting the ball down there at the 3 or 4 yard line. Definitely a big turn of events there.
Now St. Ed's a week ago opened up the playoffs with a 45-13 thrashing of Strongsville. And there's a look at one of the captains for St. Ed's, Haruki Nakamura. He does just about everything offensively for St. Ed's. Now they have had a change at quarterback. When these two teams first met, it was Kyle Skosen at quarterback. Now it's Anthony Gardner. And out of the end zone, he hands it off to Ryan Adkins. And Adkins runs it out to the 10-yard line for a gain of 7. Here's a look at the Eds starters offensively. On that offensive line, they'll open up with the tackles consisting of Troy Gannon and Alex Boone, and Boone is a good one at 6'8", 310 pounds. The guards, John Coyne, who is 6'3", 230, and Nick Lembach with Ed Wisniewski in the middle at center. Anthony Gardner gets the go at quarterback. Michael Greer and Ryan Atkins are the setbacks. Scott Madden had a long touchdown reception of the win a week ago, and Haruki Nakamura leads the Eagles in receptions this year. Atkins, the ball carrier. He takes the ball up to the 17-yard line, and he has a first down. Atkins coming into the game and carried the ball 36 times this year for 150 yards. There really isn't one player for that St. Ed's offense, Raj, which is a dominating ball carrier. They kind of spread the wealth.
Yeah, they do have some depth. They have a lot of people that contribute, and you know, when you reach this point in the season, that's a good thing because you have a lot of experienced players that are willing to take the load and carry the load.
6 minutes and 45 seconds to play in the opening quarter. Warren Harding had to punt on its initial possession of the game. Eds began at the 3, now they're out to the 17. Atkins again, hit by Finnessy. Initially hit on the play by Phil McNeil. And Atkins goes down at the 21-yard line. Here's a look at the Raiders' starting defensive front. Anthony Hoke leads the team with 7.5 sacks this season. He's the left end. The right end, Andre Boomer. The tackles, Phil McNeil, who earlier this week committed to play his college ball at Kent State, and Matt Mann on the right side. The linebackers, Deshaun Robinson, Ben Elser, and Nate McLeod. The corners, Thaddeus Walker and Preston Kelson. Joe Finnessy and Roger Matlock are the safeties for the Raiders' Blood D. So it is second down for Eds from the 21. Gardner on the keeper, much like we saw Alex Ingram pull off for Warren Harding. And Gardner takes the ball out to the 31-yard line. And Eds likes to run that play, Ralph, because before Kyle Skosen was benched, he led this team in rushing. Last week, and Gardner's only started 2 games, he carried the ball 8 times and had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and they like to run it because the success they have up front, if you look at that replay, they had 3 offensive linemen, you know, leading that quarterback into the hole. And you know, when you're a quarterback and you're running the ball, when you don't get touched for the first 5 or 6 yards, you know, that's a play that you're going to come back to.
Well, Ed's averaging 168 yards a game on the ground this season. And they've moved the ball from the 3 out to the 31, staying on the ground. And here they go again. Ryan Bailey, the ball carrier, and he fumbles the football. And the Raiders feel they've recovered this one. They snatched one earlier offensively, and Eds has recovered it. So each team has fumbled it once, only to recover its own mistake. So Ryan Bailey comes in. That was his 21st carry of the year, and it was almost very dangerous because there it comes out. You see it. The ball's bouncing around.
And that's one of the things that Harding is going to need to do tonight is put some hits on those running backs so they don't hit that hole as quickly. You know, once you take a couple shots like that, you tend to not go as quickly and looking for the hit more than the yards.
So a gain of 4 after the fumble out to the 35-yard line. The Eagles now with the second down. Give to Ryan Atkins. He finds a crevice, bowls over the Raiders' Roger Matlock. And Ryan Atkins takes the ball out to the 45. That's a gain of 10 and a first down for St. Ed's.
There you see the hard runner right there, Ryan Atkins, who bowls over Matlock, like you said. The senior tailback is 225 at 5'11". He carries the load when he hits the hole.
So Ed's has now put together a very profitable drive here. And they've used 3 different ball carries. Atkins getting the brunt of the work, 4 carries, 28 yards on this series. Nakamura goes in motion. Before Gardner can take the snap out of the gun, the officials have stepped in. Dead ball foul, illegal procedure is the call against Lakewood St. Edwards. So that'll move the Eagles back to the 40 and put him at first and long.
You know, Rob, so far you've really got to be impressed by St. Ed's. They come out, had started in poor field position, and able to work their way out of it and really put a nice drive together.
Well, Warren Harding again was the top-ranked team according to the AP when the regular season ended. St. Ed's was ranked 12th. You've got 2 of the top 15 teams here in the state going head-to-head. Anthony Gardner off the play action. Wants to throw back across the grain. Has Paxton Rose, but he can't hook up with him. Coverage by Preston Kelson.
Well, Gardner definitely had the time on that play. He was able to sit back there for a long time after the play fake and look for a receiver. Here you see the little sprint out to his right. He looks back to his left, and you know, had that been a ball that was thrown on the money, you got yourself a big play.
Now, Gardner has not started at quarterback all that often. In fact, coming into the game, he had thrown only 23 passes this year, completing roughly half of them for 204 yards. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, but Gardner's been picked twice. In fact, that's been the problem for St. Ed's. Kyle Skosen, who started most of the season, was intercepted 8 times, and now the swing pass intended for Damian Pride is dropped, and they'll rule it a forward pass and not a lateral, so it's incomplete. And it is 3rd and long now for the Eagles. Ed's not noted for its passing attack, and well, you can rule that possibly a lateral because it went behind Damian Pride. And
You know,
the Raiders played it through till the final whistle.
It was close, and I tell you what, that whistle didn't blow till late, and Harding players aware of the situation, pounced on the ball, but they say it was an incomplete pass. It's strange, though, that Ed's got to the 40 by running the ball, and then we saw, you know, a couple pass plays there, so they went away from what was working for them a little bit.
Yeah, now they're faced with a 3rd and 15 from the 40. Anthony Gardner out of the gun. Looks for Nakamura. Robinson off the corner with pressure. Pass is complete, however, to Ryan Mirando, the tight end. He makes the grab in Raider territory. Tackled by Nate McLeod at the Harding 41. Ryan Mirando's 5th reception of the season.
A lot of pressure. Really the first time Anthony Gardner's had some pressure, but tight end does a nice job of getting in between the 2 zones and picks up the big first down right there.
For Mirando, he had 2 receptions in the victory against Strongsville last week. So of his 5 grabs, 3 have come in the playoffs. So Mirando, not a common target during the regular season, Ralph, but St. Ed's starting to go to their tight end a little bit more now, or at least Mirando in the postseason. And he makes it a 19-yard reception to give Ed's a first down in Raider territory. Back to Ryan Atkins. Pulled to the ground by Preston Kelson. Joe Finnessy also in there defensively for Harding. Ryan Atkins runs the ball to the Harding 37-yard line for a pickup of about 4. Three minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Raiders' opening drive resulted in a punt For Lakewood St. Ed's, this is their initial offensive possession of the night, and the series began on the 3, and they have subsequently moved it to the Harding 37-yard line. Nakamura goes in motion for the Eagles. Anthony Gardner on the keeper. First down as he runs the ball to the 29. Pulled to the ground by Roger Matlock. But it's a gain of 8. And boy, Eds has been very methodical on this drive, at least when they stay on the ground.
Yeah, they're really pounding the ball. And, you know, you talked at the beginning about their offensive linemen, how big. You talked about number 75, Aaron Alex Boone and Nick Limbaugh out there. And they're really moving that Harding defensive line around.
Well, the Raiders have
We think they're the most physical team that we've played, easily the most physical team that we've played. We like the way their kids play. I mean, they play hard. They test your toughness. They test your manhood, and we respect the heck out of them for that.
And there's a look at the Raiders coach. And boy, last year Warren Harding pulled one out of the fire. A game we had broadcasted here on Fox 1762. The Raiders won it by 2 on a last-second field goal. So you have to figure if there's maybe a mental block for Eds. Their head coach John Gibbons kind of scoffed at that when the two teams met in the regular season, when he was asked if Harding has his team's number. And I don't know if you really look at it like that, Ralph, but there has to be something to this current success that Harding has enjoyed over the Eagles.
Yeah, and really over the last couple of years, Harding has enjoyed a success against a lot of teams. And, you know, they're big, they're physical, they're intimidating, and you know, that goes a long way when you play this game. But so far tonight, it's been St. Ed's that has been the physical, intimidating team.
Well, off the timeout, the Eagles flagged for delay of the game. Now on the end around, it's Haruki Nakamura, grabbed by Anthony Hoke and pulled to the ground at the 33, so it results in only a gain of 1. They've tried that a couple of times this season. It has not worked any great amount of success. And now it'll be second and long for Eds. But it'll be the 13th play of the drive coming up, and we're down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first quarter. And anything else, if nothing else, Ralph, at least Warren Harding's explosive offense has remained on the sideline.
Yeah, you know, and that's key for St. Ed's. If they could, you know, practice this ball control offense and get a score and take some time off the clock, it'll definitely be to their benefit.
And they've utilized about 7 minutes of the clock here in the first quarter on this drive alone. Anthony Gardner hit in the backfield by Nate McLeod, finished off by Deshaun Robinson. Harding steps it up defensively. Gardner goes down right around his opposition's 36-yard line, and that's going to be a loss of about 3, maybe 4 yards.
Yeah, if the quarterback takes hits like that, you're not going to want him to run the ball too much. Here you see he kept it a couple times, had some success early. And there you see Deshaun Robinson finish him off, and that's a big-time hit.
So the ball now sits on the Harding 36-yard line. And it is 3rd and 17 for St. Ed's. Anthony Gardner out of the gun, wants to go back up top. Steps up, delivers. Pass incomplete. Here come the penalty flags. Good call because the pass intended for Ryan Mirando, but he was interfered with by Roger Matlock.
Yeah, Matlock has his hand on his shoulder and it brings the other one in front, and both referees called it down there, the back judge and the side judge. So
there it is, defensive pass interference, and what makes that costly? It's a 15-yard penalty, but it gives the Eagles an automatic first down.
yeah, you see some pressure, but you know, Gardner able to step up, and Gardner came up with Miranda came up with a big pass catch earlier and interfered with there and picks up the first down either way.
And when the coaches look at that, Ralph, they're going to realize that Matlock didn't have to interfere. The pass was a little too tall maybe for Mirando to come up with the grab, which would have made it incompletion, and it would have forced Eds into a 4th down, and now they've got a first down on the Harding 21. And the drive continues for the Eagles. 1:10 remaining here in the first quarter. Give to Ryan Atkins, met in the backfield by Phil McNeil. Atkins will go down at the 23-yard line. That'll be a loss of 2.
Really the first time tonight that Atkins has been stopped in the backfield. He's enjoyed some success tonight up the middle, but Phil McNeil able to come off his block and make a nice solo tackle.
Well, the big thing here, this will be the 15th play of the drive coming up for Lakewood St. Ed's. We're down to 40 seconds left in the first quarter, and this drive began with about 9 minutes left in the opening frame for the Eagles. Faced with a 2nd and long from the Harding 23. Give to Bailey. Ball knocked loose. On the floor, Ben Elser recovers for Warren Harding. So all that time comes up empty for St. Ed's, and the Raiders defense bends a little but does not break. Ben Elser with the fumble recovery.
Yeah, you're disappointed if you're St. Ed's. You have a nice drive. You put a nice drive together, pick up a couple big plays, and you come up with the turnover here. We saw it earlier. Harding likes the big hits, and they're a ball-hawking offense and ball-hawking defense. They almost caused a turnover down around the 50-yard line. Now they get one on their end. So defense steps up when they needed to.
The 11th fumble recovery by Harding's defense this season. That fumble was forced by Deshaun Robinson and recovered by Ben Elser, and it gives the Raiders the ball on their own 22. Richard Davis looking for a gap. Runs it out to the 26-yard line. Davis tackled on the play by Ryan Rappas. And that may be the final play of the opening quarter. And the Raiders will indeed allow the clock to expire. So we have completed one quarter from Fawcett Stadium, right next to the Pro Football Hall of Fame here in Canton. And our score after one, it primarily because St. Ed's dominated play with a 15-play drive that resulted in a fumble. So Warren Harding, as the second quarter gets set to get underway, will have a second down from the 27. Alex Ingram on the keeper. Runs it out very close to the first down marker. In fact, I think from the spot, they'll put him down near the 33, and that should give the Raiders 4 fresh downs to work with. Yep, it is a first down for Warren Harding. So 2 runs, one by Davis and one by Ingram to open up the second quarter, gives Warren Harding a first down.
Ingram showing his experience there. You know, Jim Harrison, number 59 for St. Ed's, came on the blitz. He would have no chance to elude it, so he knew as soon as he saw the blitz coming, he took off and ended up being a first down. So smart play by Alex Ingram.
Davis, the lone setback, joined in the backfield by Jimmy Butts. But the officials have thrown their flag here, stopping the clock with 11:37 to go in the first half. No score between Harding and Ed's. Dead ball fouls are called. Illegal procedure against Warren Harding. So each team has now been penalized twice in the first quarter. Warren Harding will add one here in the second quarter. That's the Raiders' 3rd infraction of the night, totaling 25 yards. That's half of their per-game average. So the ball moves back to the 28-yard line. 1st and 15 now for Warren Harding. Andre Boomer goes in motion for the Raiders. Toss to Richard Davis. And it's Davis out to the 29-yard line for a minimal gain on the play. Davis led this team in scoring with 21 touchdowns, 20 of those this year on the ground. In fact, Warren Harding averaging 38.5 points a game. So to keep that offense off the board in the first quarter, Ralph, was a moral victory for Eds.
Yeah, and for Harding, you know, Richard Davis is the key. Once you get that running game going, it opens up all those other things like the passes to Manningham, the passes to Spark. So definitely I know Coach McDaniels wants to get that running game with Richard Davis going.
So it is second down for the Raiders from the 29. Ingram throws it back to Mario Manningham. Flag down. Andre Boomer is going to be called for holding. Manningham will go down up to the 33-yard line, but the play will be negated because of the hold. That's either going to be a hold or an illegal block in the back, but it will be against Andre Boomer, and it happened right after the grab by Manningham.
Yeah, Boomer has one guy to block out there and tried to block him. Guy turned his back, but I'm almost positive they're going to call a hold here.
Now, if Eds declines the penalty, it's still 3rd and long, but I would imagine you'd force Warren Harding back. And it is an illegal block in the back against Andre Boomer of Harding. And here's a look at it again, and this is what we're talking about.
And again, Manningham's one of your stars. You want to get the ball in his hand as often as you can, and you try the little swing pass to him, and you get a penalty out there. And again, these penalties are going to be costly for Harding because they started to move the ball here a little bit, and now 2 penalties in 3 plays, you find yourself in a big hole.
Raiders' 4th infraction of the night. Now they have the ball on the 18-yard line. They need to go to the 43 for a first down. Ingram throws to Manningham, pass through his hands. Coverage by Joseph Kleinsmith. And now it is 3rd and 25 for Harding.
You know, I like the call, even though it was 2nd and long. Mario Manningham's out there one-on-one with Joe Kleinsmith, and Kleinsmith, respecting the speed of Manningham, is playing about 15 yards off. So they're trying the quick hitches because you're going to bring them up, and hopefully later on you can go deep with Manningham. So, you know, some might question the play call, why you throw a short pass on 2nd and forever, but, you know, you're setting things up for later in the game.
Ingram out of the gun here. Davis the lone back. Ingram in trouble. Rapich forced him up in the pocket. Ingram scrambles out to the 22-yard line. Bumped down on the play by Ryan Mirando. But Isaac Chaney will come back out once again to punt the ball away.
Ingram really doesn't have time to sit back there and look at his, you know, 4-receiver set. He's forced to scramble and tries to make a play of it, but that St. Ed's aggressive defense able to contain him somewhat and force the Raiders to punt.
Chaney's first punt of the night went for 51 yards, but he was the benefactor of a huge roll down to the Ed's 3-yard line. And now it's Joe Spain to punt, and not Isaac Chaney.
Remember, on that 51-yard punt, I believe it was Jacob Richard, number 6, almost got a piece of it, and it looks at this point, the way they're lining up, that St. Ed's is, you know, going to come for the block again.
We get a dead ball foul, illegal procedure against Harding, and right now the Raiders are not in sync offensively.
Well, they definitely don't look like the Raiders of last week, that's for sure.
So the ball goes back to the 18-yard line after the 5-yard infraction, and Joe Spain, who is normally just the place kicker, stands to punt from his own 6-yard line. Here comes the pressure, and they've got it. Joe Kleinsmith blocked the punt, scooped up on the play by Neil Jerub, and he's in. Touchdown, St. Ed's off the block punt. And Ralph, you're exactly right. They were coming for him again.
Yeah, St. Ed's must have seen something on film that they knew they could get to that punter, because the last time they nearly blocked it, and this time they sent the house except for one, got a piece of it, and now the touchdown. So if this doesn't wake Harding up, nothing's going to tonight.
So St. Ed's jumps out on top thanks to their special teams. And now there is a flag down. The flag will be against Harding for an illegal shift. The Eagles will decline, and Ed's gets the touchdown.
There you see the block, and I'll tell you what, he probably could have taken a snap. He was in there so quickly, and there you see number 32, Neil Jarrett, pick it up and get right into the end zone. So nice job by the special teams of St. Ed's.
Jarrett is the guy that returned it, but the guy who blocked the punt will now try the point after. Joseph Kleinsmith, who this year is 21 of 29 on point after attempts. He'll kick it out of the hold of Kyle Skozen. And now Lakewood St. Ed's has to take a timeout. So we have 9 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the second quarter. It is Lakewood St. Ed's 6, Warren Harding nothing. We'll come back with the Eagles' extra point attempt when we have further coverage of high school football playoff action on Fox 1762. And before the kick is away, penalty flag's down. Boy, and this for being a round 2 playoff game, Ralph, we have seen these two teams in a little bit of a mishmash.
Yeah, it's been pretty sloppy out there. I don't know if it has to do with nerves. It's big crowd, big stadium, but
you know what?
Haven't been pretty.
And the problems have been all on Harding's side because they've been flagged for encroachment. And they're going to wave off the penalty. Edge will take the extra point, which was good.
Now they're going to have to make him kick it again.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a dead ball foul.
Yeah,
right.
They blew that play dead.
You can't decline that. That's a dead ball foul, so they'll move it to the 1.5-yard line and force St. Ed's to kick it again. And you're wondering, well, what's the difference? Why would you not just let Ed's get the extra point attempt, but what if they miss it?
Right. I mean, nothing's a given in high school football.
Because you know it's Harding who said, look, you have to assess this penalty against us.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't Ed saying that we want to take the penalty. They wanted to decline.
Again, the holder is Pat Skozen.
So the ball will remain at the 3. So Edge decides not to move it to the 1.5, but they still have to kick it again. Doesn't matter because Kleinsmith knocks it through. 9:11 to go here in the second quarter. And it is St. Ed's 7, Warren Harding nothing. But again, Ralph, we talked about this during our pregame show. The Raiders find a way to get it done. They've been a team throughout most of the year that just can kind of like turn it on, like a light switch. And we'll find out if they can turn it on now when their backs are to the wall.
Yeah, most good teams, find a way. In a lot of football locker rooms around the area, you see that sign that says "find a way," and maybe this is going to be the spark that gets them going. Sometimes teams that are so good kind of get lazy, kind of get apathetic a little bit. And it takes something like this to get them going. So we'll see if that's the case with Harding tonight.
So the Raiders will get the ball right back. Here's head coach Tom McDaniels, who has done a remarkable job with Warren Harding. His program has become the model of consistency, not only in the Mahoning Valley, Ralph, but around the state of Ohio.
Yeah, state of Ohio, and even nationally, they've been recognized as one of the best teams around. So, getting a lot of good press, and deservedly so.
His playoff record is up to 7-2 following last week's win against Solon.
And if you think back to last week, one of the weaker spots of Harding's games with their special teams, and so far tonight, that's what's cost them 7 points.
So Kleinsmith tees it up at the 40. Manningham and Walker back deep. This will be Manningham from the 9-yard line. Finnessy with a block in the back. And Manningham goes down at the 13-yard line. So there's a flag down. And Warren Harding just not making very good decisions tonight by blocking and not blocking guys.
Yeah, Finnessy blocked number 2, Robert Norman, right in the back, right in front of the official. So it's a no-brainer call. And I tell you what, it looked like Manningham waited and waited for that ball to roll to him. It wasn't very aggressive at going to get it. So,
boy, watch it again here. And it's an obvious call. The fans don't like it, but you'll see number 10, Joe Finnessy, with the block right there. And that's what prompted the penalty flag.
And there you see Manningham almost dropped the ball right after that. So a little bit sloppy here. And if Harding wants to tie this ball game up, they're going to have to go a long way to do it.
The Harding Raiders will now start 1st and 10, just shy of their own 5-yard line. Edge began its only offensive possession of the night from the 3-yard line, moved it to the Harding 22 before a fumble ended their drive. And now the Raiders will be pinned underneath the shadow of their own goalpost here. They'll run out of the I formation. Richard Davis. Grabbed on the play by Robert Norman. Pulled to the ground at the 8-yard line and pick up about 3. And I just wonder when John Richardson's going to get a chance to carry the football for Warren Harding. We've seen him over the past couple weeks produce some very big numbers.
Yeah, John Richardson, number 6, we saw last week, carried the load in the second half, and he's an outstanding talent.
Second down for the Raiders from the 8. Davis again. Finds a crack, runs over Kleinsmith. Takes it out to the 21-yard line. Tackle on the play by Anthony Gardner. But a solid run there of almost 14 yards by Richard Davis.
Here you see finally we get some good blocking up front. Number 32, Tony Reed, the fullback, able to get his block, and then Richard Davis overpowers a little bit, picks up that first down. But I think that's what makes Harding football go. You get that run game going, everything else falls into place.
And now St. Ed's has taken a timeout defensively. That leaves us with 8 minutes and 22 seconds here in the second quarter. Our score, Lakewood St. Edward 7, Warren Harding nothing. You're watching the high school football game of the week, a playoff edition on Fox 1762.
Braves, Browns fans, the new McPhilly cheesesteak sandwich. Juicy steak, grilled onions and peppers smothered in pepper jack cheese. Game time or anytime, it's good eating. The new McPhilly cheesesteak.
Save up to $7,500 on a new Oldsmobile Bravada at Columbiana Buick Olds Cadillac Chevrolet, where a new Bravada starts at $27,962. Oldsmobiles are backed by the GM commitment, a 5-year, 60,000-mile protection plan or cash alternative, with continued availability of parts and service. Where will you find the best selection of General Motors' finest cars, trucks, and SUVs? At Ohio's largest, Columbiana Buick Olds Cadillac Chevrolet.
Daryl Hughley is a brother from the hood living in the burbs.
And here we are.
He's got a supportive wife.
Tell Big Daddy what a great lover he is.
And 2 loving kids.
Daddy got a ticket.
Daddy got a belt and a temper, too.
For him, a man's home.
You want to put the knife down, Mrs. Bobby?
Is his hassle.
If you want something, why don't you do what I did when I was your age?
They have video cameras in liquor stores now.
Watch the Hughleys.
Monday at 4 on Fox 1762.
Your local Fox station is Fox 1762.
We've got the most local sports in the Valley.
And the only local 10 o'clock news.
Local racing and high school basketball.
Plus high school football and the YSU game of the week.
Not just the highlights, we've got the whole game. Local sports on your Fox station.
And local news 1 hour before the rest. First news at 10 on Fox 1762.
It's off the timeout. It is a first down for Warren Harding from its own 22-yard line. Looks like Ingram might be changing the play here. He moves Pete Sparks out a little bit more, and now the penalty flags come. And if that's delay of the game, that's an awful quick clock. It's illegal procedure instead. So Harding again hurting itself with a penalty. Raiders have now been flagged 8 times for 55 yards here in the first half alone. I had to look at that stat twice. Harding's been flagged 8 times already.
And the positive thing, if you're Harding, is to say, we've had 8 penalties, we played poorly, we're only down 7.
So now from the 17, Richard Davis out to the 22-yard line. Brought to the ground by Joe Kleinsmith. Assisted on the play by Patrick Highland. Davis gets the 5 yards back that was lost on the illegal procedure penalty. Actually gets a yard to the good after it. So a gain of about 6. So the ball sitting just shy of the Raiders' 23-yard line. Robinson and Davis now split behind Ingram. And he wants to throw. He'll dump it off to Richard Davis. Tackled in the backfield by Ryan Bailey. And then a penalty flag comes in late. The pass play results in a loss of 3 back to the 20, but let's wait and see what the flag is.
I don't know what the flag is for, but I tell you what, Ryan Bailey comes up and makes an excellent play from his outside linebacker position.
Face mask is the call. So St. Ed's with a costly mistake. See if we can watch where the infraction took place. And I don't know if it was on the ball carrier.
Unless Bailey had that underneath arm on the face mask, that looked like a good play.
So the flag takes the ball out to the 25-yard line. They call it an incidental face mask, so it's only a 5-yard penalty against the Eagles. But it is second down for Warren Harding and not third down. Ingram on the keeper. Hit by Haruki Nakamura and knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line, and that is close to a first down.
Tell you what, Nakamura comes up from that safety position and puts a lick on Alex Ingram, but again, they're putting Alex Ingram tonight in a position to be successful. You know, they're rolling him out of the pocket, they're letting him run, they're letting him pick and choose his holes, and he's able to get up to the sidelines and nearly pick up the first down, and there you see that big hit.
But I got to tell you, that's a favorable spot for Warren Harding. Nakamura looked as if he had knocked the quarterback of Warren Harding, Alex Ingram, out of bounds just over the 31.
Right.
Well, the ball spotted right on the 32, so the Raiders get the benefit of a favorable spot and a first down. If I'm head coach John Gibbons of Eds, I am not happy with the spot of that football.
You know, fortunately for him, he's on the other side. I don't know if he could see it as good as we could, but Harding definitely got a gift right there.
Mirando wanted to come on a blitz. So did Jereb. Richard Davis runs right both of them and carries the ball out to the 35-yard line.
I tell you what, one of the things St. Ed's is doing tonight that we haven't seen many teams do against Harding this year is they're really throwing the blitz at him. You know, they're sending their insides, they're sending their outside linebackers, and they're hitting the gaps at good times, and it's really disrupting what Harding wants to do offensively. And a lot of teams don't have the size and don't have the speed to do that to Harding, and St. Ed's is doing it tonight.
6.5 minutes remaining before the break. Raiders trail 7-0. Edge with a three-man front here. As Ingram lines up in the gun. Pressure off the corner, but Ingram throws with the pass off the shoulder pads of Thaddeus Walker and incomplete. And Harding now faced with a third down situation with the ball returning to the 35-yard line.
And again, exactly what I was talking about last play. They sent up one blitz, and then they sent the delay blitz from the outside. So Thaddeus Walker's the hot read, and Ingram puts the ball there. It's just a little bit too hot for him to handle.
So far, Ingram 1 for 3 passing the ball for 5 yards. He completed a swing pass to Mario Manningham to begin the game and has subsequently missed on his last 2 pass attempts. He'll probably have to go to the air again here from the 35. Looks, delivers to Manningham. Look at him work out over midfield into Ed's territory. Tackle at the 49-yard line, and it's a first down for the Raiders.
That's a big-time play by both Alex Ingram and Mario Manningham. You know, when you need a big play, you go to your go-to guy, and Manningham is definitely that guy. There you see the nice catch, his awareness to look at the sideline, see where that stick is, and then pick up the yards after the catch.
Eventually tackled by Ryan Bailey, but for Manningham, his second grab of the night gives him 28 for the season. He had 3 receptions against Solon a week ago for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. And now the Raiders, after starting at the 5-yard line and being snake bitten with a couple of penalties, have worked their way into Ed's territory. Pope lines up as a wing to the right. Give to Richard Davis. Down to the 44-yard line. Davis tackled on the play by Patrick Hyland.
You know, I think one of the things we're going to see over the course of tonight is who's the stronger team. Really in the pits down there, the offensive defensive line, it's been a struggle tonight. It's been a lot of smash mouth football. And I think come the late third and fourth quarter, we're going to see what team is a little bit stronger.
5 minutes and 20 seconds left here in the second quarter. Raiders with the ball trailing 7-0. From the Ed's 44 to second down for Harding. Delayed handoff, Richard Davis. First down yardage. Davis close to the 37-yard line, and now the Raiders seemingly finding that rhythm that we've seen them do all year long.
And again, I think that's the kind of team there are. They're a very streaky team, and once they get rolling, it's like they're running downhill and things start to go well for them. And as you see Richard Davis run here, you know, he has his head down, gets some good blocks, and that's the Richard Davis that we're used to seeing.
So Davis in the game now, 11 carries, 44 yards. That includes that 6-yard carry he had just a moment ago. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Here comes Walker on the end around. Spins around Robert Norman, or at least tried to. Norman stayed home and makes the tackle at the 43.
Yeah, that's a big-time play by Robert Norman. A lot of times you see those people on the outside get sucked in, especially with the success so far Richard Davis has had, but he stays home and not only forces the guy inside, which is his job, he also makes the tackle. So a nice individual effort by Robert Norman.
Loss of about 5. That was Walker's 4th carry of the season. He's been able to score 1 touchdown on a play similar to that. Now with trips to the top of your screen, Alex Ingram out of the gun for Harding. He looks the opposite way and delivers the pass complete to Pete Sparks. Sparks then goes down at the 35-yard line, tackled by Joe Kleinsmith. Sparks second on the team in receiving this season. That's his 22nd grab of the year for Harding.
You know, I think Harding is, you know, we talked about Mario Manningham, we talked about Sparks, the talent they have in receiving, and here you see the comparison between the two. You know they're going to keep going to those two because those are their go-to guys.
And again, Manningham, maybe the more prolific scorer with 11 touchdowns as compared to 2 for Sparks, but Sparks a very solid possession type receiver, and that's where you see he's averaging about 12 yards per grab. You know, you get him the ball and he's going to catch it. His third down now for Harding from the Ed's 35. Before Ingram can drop to throw, more flags. It stops the clock with 3:10 to go here in the first half. Illegal procedure is the call against Warren Harding.
I think a lot of these procedure calls has to do with the amount of movement that St. Ed's does up front on defense. You know, right before the snap count, you see their front line shift. You see the outside linebackers dogging in and out, faking the blitz, and I think that's really causing some problems there on the offensive line of Harding, and it's forcing them to move a little bit.
There's a look into the Raiders huddle from the 40-yard line of Ed's. Harding now with a 3rd and long. Ingram going to deliver, complete, nope, in and out of the hands of Mario Manningham. You won't see that too often. Manningham would have had enough yardage for a first down, but couldn't hang on to the football.
And I tell you what, I think you see a little bit of the strength, too, of Alex Ingram. The straight drop back, able to throw the out all the way across the field and really put it right on the money. Maybe a little bit high, but that's a catch that he'll come up with about 99 out of 100 times.
So now the ball returns to the Lakewood St. Ed 40-yard line. And the Raiders will go for it on 4th down. Robinson and Davis the setbacks. They will stay to block. Ingram wanted the short kick, and it went right to Neil Jarrett, but he then fumbled the football, and who was able to fall on it? Yes, St. Ed's will get it eventually.
That wasn't pretty.
No, it was not the kind of quick kick that Warren Harding wanted. Neil Jarrett is the guy who grabbed it and fumbled it and picked it back up. So the Eagles will get the football now. Instead of maybe inside the 10, the quick kick would have worked the way you draw it up. Instead, they'll get the ball at the 36-yard line.
Here you see the snap, and he just misses the ball. You know, Ingram, not the punter, not used to punting, and just kind of hits the end of the ball. And
well, Neil Jarrett's been big today for Eds. He's got a touchdown off a blocked punt and comes up with the recovery there of the quick kick, and Eds will now actually begin at the 37-yard line. Give Michael Greer, the fullback, runs it out to the 38, gain of only 1. This is just the second offensive possession of the night for Eds. And it comes with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second quarter, yet the Eagles lead 7-0.
And one of the advantages of that is that offensive line that we've talked about at the beginning of the game has to be fresh. And they're going to go into halftime fresh, and come the second half, they're going to be ready to go again. So, you know, that Harding offensive line, been on the field a while. This St. Ed's offensive line has had their share of rest tonight.
Well, the first time that St. Ed's had the football, they moved the ball from the 3 to the 22 of Harding, used about 9 minutes of the clock, and went 15 plays only to fumble the football. Second down give to Ryan Atkins, and he runs it out to the 41. That'll be a gain of a couple of yards. And now a timeout taken by Warren Harding. 1:43 remaining in the half, 42-yard line. Eagles with a third down and about 5. Little sugar huddle for the Eagles. Anthony Gardner will drop into the shotgun. Off the roll, will swing the pass complete to Hiraki Nakamura, and he'll go out of bounds right around midfield. Nakamura bobbled that a little bit. I thought he was going to drop it, but good concentration. Big reception for the first down.
And surprisingly enough, the defensive back in the play was playing pretty much off him, able to get the nice catch on the out and pick up the first down, get out of bounds, and now, you know, St. Ed's finds them in a position where maybe they can get themselves into field goal range.
Gain of about 8. There you see the bobble by Nakamura. He caught only 1 ball a week ago, and this is a kid who had 31 receptions during the course of the regular season. Now out of the I formation. They'll give the ball back to Nakamura. Gets around Anthony Hope, runs by Nate McLeod, finally pulled to the ground by Thaddeus Walker inside the Harding 40. It'll be a gain of about 11 yards and a first down for Eds.
I tell you what, Nakamura at the end of that run didn't take the punishment. He gave it to Thaddeus Walker. Here you see the little reverse around the end. Nakamura, we know, has good speed. And again, when you have a weapon like that, you try to give him the ball when you can. And there you see him put a hurting on Thaddeus Walker at the end of that run.
So it is first down now for St. Ed's. Just inside the Harding 40. Swing pass, caught by Damian Pride. Flag is down, Pride is down. The flag was thrown right at the feet of Ryan Mirando of Lakewood St. Ed's.
And it didn't look like Mirando did anything wrong. It was his job to come out and get that one key block on the cornerback.
There you see the officials talking about it. It is a hold against St. Edward. See if we can catch it here.
Here you're going to see Miranda from the top of your screen come in and try to get that key block, and he really almost missed the block more than held.
Nonetheless, the flag will take the ball out close to midfield.
And Miranda's down there right now trying to make his case, but he's not going to win that battle.
So the 10-yard penalty will bring up a first and long for the Eagles. Football spotted on the Harding 49-yard line.
And it's weird what St. Ed's does. Everyone looks at the sideline, gets the play, they get into like a semi-huddle, and then they're ready to go.
Less than a minute remaining here in the first half. St. Ed's leading 7-0. Gardner off the pump. Cannot find Haruki Nakamura, and now a flag is down, and he may have been interfered with by Thaddeus Walker.
Thaddeus Walker, had he turned his head around, probably has a pick, but he was focused on Nakamura, and it looked like from up here, maybe he had that jersey in his hand. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, it is a pass interference call against Harding. Second time they've been flagged for that tonight.
If I'm not mistaken, both times on Thaddeus Walker.
No, I think the first one was Roger Matlock.
That's true.
Yeah. Still, though, an uncommon amount of penalties against Warren Harding here in the first half. And it's a first down for the Eagles. Well, you talked about it before, Ralph. When you go into the locker room at half, you can't play any worse than Warren Harding's played here in the first two quarters.
I mean, absolutely, getting almost double-digit penalties. You know, the poor punt and big-time mistakes. You just really shooting yourself in the foot. There's nothing else you can say.
10 flags against Harding for 75 yards tonight. The most recent one takes the ball to the Raiders' 34, and it's Ryan Atkins on the ground. Atkins runs the ball to the 20-yard line. Another flag is down. And when do you get to the point that you just let these two teams play?
Yeah, I mean, if that's going to be a hold on number 62, which I think it might be on Troy Gannon, it was way after the play, and I don't know.
You're right. It's a hold against St. Ed's.
Obviously, if you're Harding, you're fortunate because it's a nice play there. But I think you see at the top of your screen, there's the hold right there. Could that defender have got there? I don't know. But the referees are definitely calling it by the book tonight.
Well, for St. Ed's, they've now been flagged 5 times for 35 yards. The Eagles now have the ball at the Harding 37 as opposed to being on the 20. So, boy, what a change that flag is against Lakewood St. Ed's.
Yeah, the referees making their impact felt here tonight. And really on both sides.
Gardner quickly swings it out to Nakamura. He throws it again, and this one's short. Now that's going to be 2 forward passes.
Yeah,
that was not a lateral.
And there's no flag on this play now.
And he was not behind the line of scrimmage. Now you are allowed to throw 2 forward passes. You are allowed to do that as long as the first one results behind the line of scrimmage.
And that wasn't the case.
Boy, that was awful close because the line of scrimmage is the 37. Where's Nakamura make the grab? All right, he makes the grab at the 39, but where does he? Okay. He throws it from the 39. So you are allowed to do 2 forward passes. That's a proper call. Nakamura made the second pass behind the line of scrimmage when he tried to throw it to Damian Pride, which fell short of the intended receiver. So it is an incomplete pass.
Right, it's a good call. Had Nakamura been able to get that ball there, that's a big play.
Yes, it is. And now a pass to Nakamura, who makes the catch over Thaddeus Walker, who kind of came up a little short looking for the interception.
Yeah, Thaddeus Walker's just not turning his head to the quarterback. He's so focused on Nakamura, he's not looking back because, again, this is another catchable ball by him.
You look at Walker, mistimed his jump. And Nakamura gets both feet inbounds at the 16-yard line. We talked about the play of Haruki Nakamura.
He's not the biggest of guys, you know. He's 5'11", 180, and it doesn't look 5'11", but he's definitely the spark plug of this offense.
Gain of 21 in the play. Gardner off the play action. Rolls, throws in the end zone. Pass not caught by Ryan Miranda. He tried to make the one-hand stab and probably should have let it go because Nakamura was right behind him and he was wide open.
Right, two guys in the center of the end zone wide open. This is so unlike the Harding team that we've seen this year. Hayes to the little boot. He had his tight end out in the flat on the other side if he wanted him. Looks in the middle field and again has two people over there. And Harding can't wait to get in the locker room.
12 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. It is second down for Eds from the Raiders' 16-yard line. Gardner pumps.
Taking a lot
in trouble.
of time.
Running out of real estate. Forced out of play by Harding's Matt Mann.
Harding secondary stepped up there, and more importantly, they held that ball for a long time and got the clock down to 5 seconds. So don't think there's going to be enough time to run a play.
No, the ball goes back to the 21, so it's a loss of 5 yards. And now Joe Kleinsmith will come in to attempt a 38-yard field goal out of the hold of Kyle Skozen. Kleinsmith this year 12 of 21 on field goal attempts. With 5 seconds left in the half, and Ed's already up by a touchdown. It's Kleinsmith from 38 yards away, and he missed it to the left. So the Raiders escape at the close of the second quarter without giving up any more points. Through 2, head coach Tom McDaniels cannot be happy. We'll see how the Raiders recover at halftime. It is Lakewood St. Edwards 7, Warren Harding nothing. We'll come back with our halftime festivities from Canton as you continue to watch high school football on Fox 1762. They could be right back in this game in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure they got an earful at halftime, but on the positive side of that, you know, they're not down much. And even though, you know, the Eagles are in charge, they too have to be somewhat disappointed.
Nakamura goes down at the 22-yard line. Tackled on the play by the Raiders, Eddie Gore. And I guess, you know, if you look back to the regular season matchup between these two teams, Warren Harding did not play well in the first half up in Cleveland at Lakewood. Came back, played very well in the second half, won the game in overtime. And the Raiders did that by establishing Richard Davis in the second half. So we'll find out when the Raiders get the ball if Harding will indeed look to number 27.
Yeah, and I think defensively, you know, we always say this is a big possession, this is a big possession. But right here, I think they need to set the tone and show that this defense means business.
From just shy of the 23, Ryan Atkins first carry of the second half. Grabbed by Ben Elser, pulled to the ground at about the 32-yard line. Gain of about 9 on first down for Ryan Atkins. He picks up where he left off in the first half.
You know, they established the run earlier with Atkins, and I thought they kind of got away from that a little bit in the second quarter. And you know, they didn't have a lot of possessions there in the first half, but I think he's a good type of possession running back where he's going to pick up 6-7 yards a carry, which he has tonight, and you know, going to build up those first downs and, you know, wear down that clock.
There's a look at that huddle that Ralph talks about. The skill players kind of get together and look at the sideline while the linemen wait to hear the call from Anthony Gardner, the quarterback. And it's Gardner off the play action. Pressured. Marquez Allen hit him as he threw this pass well over the head of everybody. Nakamura and Skosen going deep for Eds, trying to come up with the ball. And now it's third and very short. I guess that's a good down to at least go deep. You're looking at second and short. You might as well test the Raiders defense here.
Yeah, it is a good possession. And for Harding, they finally got a little bit of pressure on Gardner. But again, you know, he has the time to pass. They're running things deep. They're taking their chances. And I think, you know, occasionally you have to do that.
So now from the 32-yard line, Edge with a 3rd and 1. Stacked I formation. Give to the fullback, Michael Greer, the ball carrier. And he has the first down, or so it would appear. They'll spot it at the 33. Well, that is close. But they will not measure. It is a first down for the Eagles. Michael Greer coming into the game times for 126 yards and a touchdown. He's a big bruising back. He's had a couple of carries here tonight. You look along the St. Ed sideline there. One of their assistant coaches, Scott Nedzwicki, used to be the head football coach over at Ursuline. Now he's back being assistant under John Gibbons at St. Ed's. Ryan Adkins, the ball carrier. He's got running room. He's got a lot of running room. Still on his feet. Elser from behind. Walker finally grabs Adkins inside the 10-yard line. And it was a big block by Scott Madden, which allowed Ryan Adkins to chew up even more yardage, probably an additional 30 yards on the run because of the block by Madden.
Yeah, all too often when you see long runs like that, the receivers that are downfield kind of back off, fear the penalty, and figure they'll take the long run. But Madden does a nice job downfield, really turning his guy around. And here you see me, make sure he's in front, so that's a legal block. Gets a little bit tangled up there with the back, but turns around and tries to get another one. So, you expect your receivers to catch the ball when it's thrown to, and you expect them to block when it's a run. It does a real nice job for Ryan Adkins there.
Adkins with a 61-yard gallop. It gives him 104 yards on the night, and it gives Eds a 1st and goal to go. Damian Pride, the ball carrier, kind of scoots his way inside the 5, down close to the 2-yard line. Pride with 3 rushing touchdowns this year for Ed, and he will come out of the game now on 2nd and goal to go.
That first half was a story of a lot of missed opportunities for St. Ed's, and this is definitely one now down here in Harding's End that they have to capitalize on.
Paxton Rose is the deep back out of the stacked I formation on 2nd and goal. This, however, is Greer. No, it's the keeper by the quarterback, Anthony Gardiner, and he is in. Touchdown, St. Ed's. So the Eagles come out, go to the ground, and go to work and put up their first offensive touchdown of the night, and now they have a chance to double the advantage over Warren Harding.
Yeah, pretty impressive drive. Nothing spectacular. It's just the run, and they pounded it at Harding. They pounded it all the way down the field, helped by that long run by Adkins. But, coming out of half, that Harding wanted to shut him down, get the ball back, and go to work, but it just didn't happen.
Klein Smith on for the extra point. He's 22 of 30 this year. Now they'll run the fake. Goes in the backup quarterback, looking for a little help. He's decided to run for it. Can he get to the goal line? No, he's going to be short. So the try fails. Yet St. Ed's has the lead of 13-0 over Warren Harding. So if the Raiders wish to continue this season, they're going to have to come from behind for one of the few times this year. Here's a look at the try after.
Skozen had a bad snap. We didn't know if he can get it down or not. He decided to run, and he almost got it in. But now you always got to wonder when something like that happens in a close ball game. Is that going to come back to haunt St. Ed's?
Well, the time out on the field, it is now Lakewood St. Edward 13, Warren Harding nothing. The Raiders will get the ball when we come back with further playoff coverage here on Fox 1762. Here in the third quarter, they drive 77 yards. The 6th play of the drive looked as if it was Michael Greer. The difference, the quarterback, Anthony Gardner, with the keeper, the 3-yard touchdown run, followed by the missed point after, yet it was a great ball fake by Gardner, which set up his 4th rushing touchdown of the year and has given Eds a 13-0 lead. Manningham with the kickoff return. Fumbled the football. At the 30-yard line, the ball was loose, and it's Eds which recovers. And now the wheels may start to come off the wagon.
Yeah, Manningham had himself a pretty good return. He caught that ball at the 2-yard line, and he's bringing it out past the 10, and it gets involved in some traffic. You can see he's not holding that ball as tight as he should, and really I don't think it's much contact that brings that out. I think it's got some pops out of his hands, and St. Ed's is going to look to capitalize it. It was Joe Kleinsmith who really has done a great job tonight with the big recovery.
So Kleinsmith, the kicker, gets the fumble recovery and high fives along the bench. He has given St. Ed's the football on the Warren Harding 30-yard line. Ryan Adkins in the backfield, hit by Marquet Allen and Joe Finnessy. He'll lose yardage. Now it's up to the Harding defense to stand tall.
Yeah, One of the things that impressed me about Harding the first time we saw him this year against Ursuline was this defense, the speed of the defense, how hard they hit. And really tonight we haven't seen that. And, you know, if they're going to turn it on, now's the time. They get down 3 scores, it's going to be rough going against this tough St. Ed's team.
So a loss of about 2 yards, almost 3 yards on the play. 2nd and long now for the Eagles. Football just shy of the Warren 32. Gardner to throw. Finney hits him as he throws. Pass is too tall and incomplete. Intended for Ryan Mirando. Now it'll be 3rd and long for Eds. And boy, what a big down this is for both teams.
Yeah, it really is. You know, Harding needs the ball back. They can't afford to, you know, first of all, get time taken off the clock, and second of all, to give up a score. And we'll see here what St. Ed's has up their sleeve.
So the Eagles trying to capitalize on the Raiders' mistake. Gardner off the roll, feels the pressure. Hoke hit him as he delivers. Pass is incomplete. So the Raiders have indeed stepped it up defensively. They now force Eds into a 4th and long.
Yeah, they forced the punt. They're going to get the ball back. And also important is they got another shot there on Anthony Gardner. He took 2 shots on that drive and holding his hip just a little bit. And, you know, your goal is to get to the quarterback, and on 2 occasions there on that drive they did.
Well, Joe Kleinsmith has come out. He has missed a field goal of 38 yards already tonight. This will be a 50-yard field goal by what some consider to be the best kicker in the Cleveland area. It'll go out of the hold of Kyle Skozin, a 50-yarder for Joe Kleinsmith. This one sails way off to the left and short of the mark, so Kleinsmith is now 12 of 23 this year, and the Raiders dodge the bullet. St. Ed's unable to capitalize on Harding's fumble.
And again, you know, I haven't seen St. Ed's this year, and I don't know how great of a kicker he is, but I would think up 2 scores you might want to pin Harding back deep in their own territory, but, you know, you show the confidence in your kicker, and Harding's still going to get it on the 20, but
well, he really never got a hold of that kick. So the Raiders go to work as if the fumble never occurred, but now they still, keep in mind, trail 13-0. Harding rallied earlier this year against Cardinal Mooney to win by 2. But before the snap, penalty flags. Keep in mind, Harding was flagged 10 times in the first half. False start is the call against Harding, moves him back to the 15-yard line. When it really takes him out of rhythm.
Yeah, you know, and like I mentioned earlier, St. Ed's defensive line doing a lot of movement, shifting up and down, and I don't know if that's causing problems on the Harding offensive line, whether they're trying to change their blocking schemes, or they're making different calls, or they're just getting thrown off by it. But, you know, it seems like every time Harding gets something going positive, a penalty happens, and it makes them work even that much harder.
Richard Davis, the deep back. Ingram gives him the football. Hit by Norman, stopped at the 20. Davis able to get the 5 yards back, which the Raiders had lost because of the penalty. Brings up 2nd down now from the 20. But you get the feel that the Raiders need a big play offensively. By a big play, you're talking a gain of 40 or more to get themselves in this game mentally.
And, you know, they have so many weapons, and they're such a big play offense, you know, that it's definitely a distinct possibility that that can happen, but you know, it almost seems like everyone's waiting for someone else to get it done.
Hope goes in motion. That draws Ryan Rapich off sides for St. Ed's, and it prompts the penalty flag. Yeah, Rapich came across the neutral zone. So encroachment is the call against the Eagles. So the Raiders get an extra 5 yards, and now instead of being 2nd and 10, it'll be 2nd and 5 from the 25, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, they get it back, and now they're more manageable situation. They could go back to Richard Davis if they want to. And, you know, we mentioned this earlier in the first half. We have not seen John Richardson tonight. And, you know, sometimes good to get a different change of pace back in there every once in a while.
There again, edge shifts. 3 down linemen. Give to Davis. He'll go down at the line. Robert Norman knifed through and grabbed him by his hand and was able to hold on to limit Davis to a gain of less than a yard.
And right on cue, John Richardson comes into the ball game. So they like to run Richardson. They also like to get him the ball out of the backfield, little swing passes. So we'll see what Harding does here. But they definitely want to get a drive sustained here. They don't want to go 3 and out.
So Richardson teamed up in the backfield with Deshaun Robinson on 3rd down from the 26. Ingram to Manningham. They'll let him work one-on-one, trying to get the first down. He fumbled the football. Still loose on the play. And Eds has recovered. Fumble recovered by Robert Norman. It looked as if Rocco Cerrone was going to recover the ball for Harding, but he could not maintain possession, and the Eagles get another big break.
Yeah, Manningham, usually one of the most sure-handed players on the field, tonight has already dropped 2 balls and has 2 fumbles as well. And there you see the big hit by number 59, James Harrison, who was causing problems earlier with some blitzing, and Cerrone rolls over the ball, and St. Ed's gets it in prime territory.
So now the Eagles will start shy of the Harding 15-yard line. The last time they recovered a fumble, they began on the Warren 30, but missed a 50-yard field goal. Gardner gives to Ryan Adkins. Adkins inside the 10, down to around the 9-yard line. Well, and he's over 100 yards rushing, and he really has been a force in that rushing game tonight. And Adkins came in with only 150 yards on the ground this season. He's almost matched that here tonight. So the football inside the Harding 9. 2nd and short now for Eds. Anthony Gardner on the keeper. Hit by Phil McNeil and dropped right around the line of scrimmage. So now it is 3rd down, and again it's up to the Harding defense to make the stand with 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the quarter, and the Raiders down 13-0.
No gain on the play. 3rd down and 3 from the 9.
So the football again just inside the 9 of Warren.
We've seen St. Ed's in this position a couple times tonight. They went to their big tight end, and you got to wonder if they're going to look for Ryan Miranda again in this situation.
Damian Greer, actually it's Michael Greer, the fullback. He runs the ball to 2. He has enough yardage for an Eagle first down. And that play almost was met with disaster because Anthony Gardner stumbled coming out of center. He was able to give the ball to Michael Greer. Watch it again right there. It looked as if someone stepped on his foot, but the exchange worked, and Greer gets a yardage for a first down. And now the Eagles go to a no-huddle offense from the Harding 2. It's Greer again. Stopped shy of the goal line. 2nd and goal.
If you would have told me before the game that, we'd see a team pound the ball and run it against Harding, I wouldn't have believed you. That's exactly what St. Ed's is doing tonight. They're running it right at him. Nothing fancy, and these hard-earned yards are getting them down to the end zone again.
2nd down and goal to go. Ed's trying to capitalize on the Raiders' 2nd fumble in this quarter. Gardner going to keep it himself, tries to back his way in and does. Touchdown, Lakewood St. Ed's. Gardner's 2nd rushing touchdown of the quarter. And for the season, it gives him 5. And it has now put the Eagles up 19-0 with 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Here you see just the QB sneak and them huge offensive linemen up front, especially John Coyne, who we ran behind there at the beginning of that play, get him in the end zone. And, when you have big guys like that in front of you, you're able to get those easy yards.
Now, if nothing else, this has set the table for what could be one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history. This is the way this series has gone, with Warren Harding finding a way to pull it out late for the 2-point try. Gardner throws to Nakamura, cuts inside, dives in, he's got the 2. And right now, Lakewood St. Ed's cannot be stopped. 5:06 to go in the 3rd quarter. It is the St. Edward Eagles 21, the Harding Raiders nothing. We'll return with more playoff action here on Fox 1762. Anthony Gardner goes over from the 1 for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the night. This was the try for 2, and it was Haruki Nakamura getting in after the dive. That's what extended the Eagles' lead to 21-0. And I'm not sure the Raiders have faced a deficit like this in the tenure of Tom McDaniels. 21 points. Matches the most given up by Harding this season when McKinley scored 21 on them. But the Raiders that night put up 45 points. Thaddeus Walker with the return out to his own 23-yard line. And that's where Harding will put the ball in play, 1st and 10. So St. Ed's is just the 3rd team. And actually, you know, St. Ed's is actually the 2nd team, but it's the 3rd time this year in which Warren Harding has given up 20 points or more. Ed scored 20 in the overtime loss to Harding earlier in the year. We've already mentioned McKinley has scored the most, 21. And the Eagles tonight have matched that with 21 points against Harding this evening.
Now I wonder now when Harding comes out here on offense if you're going to see a little bit sense of urgency, maybe a little bit more passing. Maybe they're not going to be content to just grind the ball out. Maybe they're going to, you know, try to get it to their good receivers and Sparks and Manningham and Robinson. We'll see.
From the 23, 1st and 10 for Harding. Ingram fires to Finney. Bounces off a couple of guys. Finney out to the 35-yard line. It's a gain of 12 and a 1st down for Harding. So Alex Ingram, who came into the year having thrown for almost 1,400 yards, now will have to utilize that arm, Ralph.
And he's going to use it in a rapid fashion. You see Harding was going to try to go to the hurry up, and now they decide to huddle up. But again, this is a play they ran earlier. If the defensive backs are going to give you this, you're going to take it every time. And when you have talented players like they do, like Joe Finney, and you see his ability to break tackles and make plays on this one, you're going to take everything you get at this point.
His 8th reception of the year gives the Raiders a 1st down. Toss, John Richardson trying to get the corner. Deshaun Robinson throws him a block. Nakamura pulls Richardson down at the 39-yard line. John Richardson a week ago in the victory against Seoul in the opening round of the playoffs had 77 yards rushing and a touchdown. In week 10 against Fitch, he had 134 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. So the youngster came in with about 550 yards this season on the ground. And he has taken over for Delbert Ferguson, who was lost with a broken leg after the Massillon game. Pass to Manningham. Knocked down by Kleinsmith at the 47-yard line. That'll be a gain of about 9 and a 1st down for Harding. Less than 4 minutes remaining here in the 3rd quarter.
8-yard pickup on the play, 1st down Raiders.
Well, you get the feeling if the Raiders can score here, you know, maybe the world starts to turn once again on its axis. You know, and everything's right once again.
Yeah, you know, all night they've just been waiting for something to happen, and they need to make something happen to try to spur them on a little bit here.
Delayed handoff to Richardson. Grabbed by Ryan Bailey and stopped at the 48-yard line. And the one thing I've been impressed with tonight about the Ed's defense, very sure tacklers. A lot of times one-on-one in the open field, and they just don't miss.
Yeah, they do a real nice job. I mean, obviously, that's something they work on. And on the opposite of that, Harding tonight, been a lot of grabbing. There hasn't been a lot of hitting. So, you know, definitely 2 different teams tonight.
2nd down pass to Pete Sparks, and Sparks is gone. Touchdown Raiders. So there's the play that Harding was looking for. A 53-yard strike from Alex Ingram to Pete Sparks. His 3rd touchdown reception for Ingram, his 19th touchdown pass of the year, and the Raiders are on the board.
Sparks just runs a little slant, gets between the linebacker and the defensive backs, and with his speed, he takes it to the end zone. And, you know, they've waited and waited, and now something positive happened. And we'll see now if that Harding defense could build off the score and try to get themselves back in this ball game.
And that's a play which worked for a touchdown against Massillon earlier this season in the 2nd to last game of the regular season. Joe Spain on for the extra point attempt. And Spain is now 49 of 51 on extra points this season. He knocks it through, and with 3:22 to go in the 3rd quarter, Warren Harding back in the game. At least a little self-confidence now back in the Raiders' heart as they trail St. Ed's 21-7.
Yeah, and as you look down there on the sideline, finally now you see some emotion from these Harding players. You know, most of them are standing with their heads down. Most of them were, you know, just looking at what was happening, being disappointed. But now you see the coach being emphatic. You see the players on the sideline celebrating a little bit, and we'll see if that carries out onto the field.
I don't know, maybe there's something about this stadium, but remember in the state championship game, Warren Harding trailed Cincinnati Elder by 3 scores, nearly pulled it out in the 4th quarter, only to lose 21-19. Maybe it's something about this stadium and some late comebacks. We'll see if the Raiders have any more inside of them. They still need 2 more touchdowns just to pull even. And for St. Ed's, now do you start scratching your head saying, uh-oh, here we go. This is what we were waiting on. This is what's happened to us before. We've had a lead, we've had a chance to beat them, and we let it slip through our fingers.
Yeah, I don't think you can let that psychological aspect of the game come into play here. I think if you're St. Ed's, you need to get the ball here and keep pounding away like you have been successfully all game. You can't, worry about what they're going to do. Just do your job.
Spain's kickoff will be footed by Nakamura at the 16-yard line. And Nakamura's got a lane. Joe Spain will upend him at the 42-yard line of Warren Harding. So the Eagles will have great starting field position here as they come back out following Harding's first touchdown of the night. So for the Raiders, their offense goes 77 yards in 5 plays, and Nakamura, after the 53-yard touchdown run and point after, brings it right back to give the Eagles a little momentum.
Yeah, Nakamura, he's a big-time player. He made a nice tackle there on defense, comes here on offense and makes a few catches, and now just when, St. Ed's is finding themselves, maybe on the lower side of the momentum scale, comes up with a big kickoff return.
Gardner wants to throw on first down. Right down the middle, looking for Madden. Can't get him. Preston Kelson had coverage for Warren Harding. Madden caught 1 ball a week ago in the victory against Strongsville, but it went for 72 yards and a score. Scott Madden this season averaging about 17.5 yards per reception. He almost had a big one there.
Yeah, Rob, I love the call. They're not coming out content to run the ball. They took their shot early, and if you're St. Ed's, maybe you are worried about that comeback. So maybe you say, hey, we're going to go down the field and score again, and we're going to do it quickly. And they had the opportunity right there.
From the 42 of Warren Harding, it is 2nd down now for St. Ed's with Pride running in motion. Give to Ryan Adkins. When he's had a monster game tonight for the Eagles. He lumbers down to the 35-yard line for a pickup of 7. And the Raiders are going to have to figure out how to stop him.
Inside the 35-yard line, pickup of 7, 3rd down.
Adkins in the game now with 116 yards rushing on a dozen carries. So it is 3rd down for the Eagles from the Harding 35. Give to Adkins. Upended, lost the football. Was he down? He was down. Doesn't matter. Adkins goes down at the 35. It'll bring up 4th down now for Ed's, but the Raiders finally figured out a way to stop him.
Yeah, they did a nice job there getting some penetration finally. Usually it's them going backwards and trying to tackle him. That time they got some penetration, able to stop him on a big 3rd down play. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Ed's does here. They're going to punt the ball or try another long field goal.
Nate McLeod was the guy who made the stop, and there you see the ball coming out, but it did come out after Adkins was already down. Yes, Ed will punt. Last time they attempted a 50-yard field goal from right around here. This time Klein Smith will punt. He's averaging 40 yards a boot, and now a penalty flag has been thrown. And I got to believe this is against Ed's. And it is. So the flag will be against the Eagles, but I'm sure they don't mind giving up the yardage here. And it calls an illegal substitution against St. Edward. That'll take the ball back to the Raiders' 40. So after the long kickoff return by Nakamura, the Eagles unable to capitalize, and now they'll punt the ball away.
Yeah, Harding did a nice job. It would have been easy for them to get down again after that long kickoff return, but defense played tough, and now they're going to get another shot here in the 3rd quarter.
Walker and Manningham awaiting the kick from Klein Smith. He'll angle it away, angle it towards the sideline. It will hit inside the 10 and roll down to the 1-yard line where Paxton Rose makes the grab for Ed. So Warren Harding will have to go 99 yards to pull a touchdown closer. 1:34 left in the 3rd quarter. But if there's anybody that can make a comeback, it would be Warren Harding.
It sure is. They have so much talent on this team, and maybe that last touchdown in defensive series, kind of got them awake, but what a great special teams play by Ed. Usually you don't see high school teams directional punt and do it well, and you can't do it any better than that.
Well, there's a great look at where the Raiders have to huddle. That's in their own end zone. And if the difference in this game is anything, it's in special teams right now. That's what resulted in the game's first touchdown. That's what has the Raiders pinned up along the goal line. And now a penalty flag down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Harding was even set on that play before they snapped it.
And you can't push him back much further. It'll be a dead ball foul here.
Dead ball.
And they're going to say false start is the call against Harding. So that'll march him back a half yard. Which
if that, where the
can't
ball
do
is
much
now,
more.
there's no room to go.
But here's the thing, though. A safety is crucial because the Raiders trail by 2 touchdowns, flat 2 touchdowns. If Eds gets a safety, now it's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion twice. Ingram just looking for a little gap. Better make sure he hangs on to the football. Kind of works his way out to the 1.
Yeah, and really, what do you call down here? You take 2 steps back and give a handoff. You know, if Ed gets some penetration, you're going to get that safety. And obviously, Ed knows that. St. Ed's knows that. And they're playing up on the nose, trying to keep that quarterback sneak to a yard or so, trying not to let Harding get any room.
I would love to see Ingram take a 5-step drop into the end zone and air one to Manningham on a go. If he can get some time from his offensive line, I think they could make it work. Manningham will be a wide out to the bottom of your screen.
He has man coverage down there. If they're going to do it, this might be a nice time to do it.
2nd down from the 1. They'll go with Richard Davis instead. He takes the ball out to the 4-yard line. So it's 3rd down now for the Raiders. Less than a minute remaining here in the 3rd quarter, and Harding trails 21-7.
You know, Manningham is matched up against his counterpart, another number 1, Joe Kleinsmith out there. And Kleinsmith's been a busy guy tonight, hoping maybe he has some tired legs. Maybe that's a matchup you could take advantage of.
Kleinsmith this season with 5 interceptions. It's team high honors for Eds. Toss to Richard Davis. Chopped down and around the 2-yard line by Robert Norman. And the Eagles have been able to get some great penetration along that front all night long. But it's the final play of the 3rd quarter. 12 minutes left in the season for one of these 2 teams, unless we head to overtime again, and that's not out of the question. Through 3, it's Lakewood St. Edward 21, Warren Harding 7. We'll return with the final quarter of tonight's Division I regional semifinal here on Fox 17-62. The 4th quarter of play with Eds leading 21-7. Cheney had 1 punt a week ago against Solon, which went for 41 yards. He'll kick it to Haruki Nakamura, and he'll let it go. And the Raiders will benefit from a great bounce, and that's a poor decision by Nakamura not to reach up and try and field that punt, because that helped Warren Harding, and it cost Eds probably about 15 yards in field position.
Yeah, it did, and Nakamura probably didn't want to make a mistake, and maybe afraid if he gets it, you know, Harding's closing down in on him, and just decides it's better off to take the minus yards and to risk a turnover. But
punt of about 50 yards when it's all said and done with after the bounce. So Eds will start from its own 47-yard line with a 1st and 10. We are 12 seconds into the final quarter with the Eagles leading by 2 touchdowns. The winner moves on to the regional championship to play either Menor or St. Ignatius. And before the snap, Alexander Spooner jumps prematurely for the Eagles. So that'll be a false start against the tight end of St. Ed's. And that'll move them back to the 42-yard line. And for Ed's, that's their 8th penalty of the game for 50 yards. Harding's been flagged 11 times tonight, but only once in the 2nd half. So they have improved upon that. From the 42, 1st and long now for Eds. Fake to Rose. Gardner keeps it himself. Grabbed by Finnessy. Wrestled to the ground at the 47-yard line. So Anthony Gardner able to gain the 5 yards back after the penalty.
And you see Anthony Gardner when he was getting tackled, held on to that ball with both hands. He was going to make sure there was no fumble. And here you see get through the line, and here you see Joe Finnessy come up for the tackle, and he's holding on to that ball for his life because Finnessy's trying to rip it out of there. And you know that Harding defense is looking for a turnover.
Well, I can't believe that Eds would even entertain a thought of passing from here on out.
Yeah, we're going to keep this clock moving, but, you know, they showed on that last possession they went deep on 1st down, so kind of unpredictable.
Gardner gives a Rose. looking to bounce it outside in Harding territory. Paxton Rose down to the 42-yard line. And that's going to be a first down for the Eagles. Boy, this is something we have not seen all year, and that's a team able to run on Harding's defense.
And again, those offensive linemen are getting out, staying on their blocks. Wide receivers are blocking downfield. And again, see a lot of grabbing out there. Harding's just not hitting tonight. They're grabbing. And when you do that to these big backs that St. Ed's has, you know, they're going to get 3 or 4 more yards every carry.
So the gain, good for about 11 yards and a first down to the 42 of Warren Harding. Less than 11 minutes left in the game. Ed scores one more time, and it could be lights out for Warren Harding. Gardner on the keeper. Hit by Nate McLeod and dropped at the 40-yard line. Reed and Barbudas also assisted defensively. It's a gain of about 2. Just keep looking at that clock. You still got 10 minutes left, so there's a lot of time left in the game. But boy, Eds has proven tonight that they can hang on to that football, Ralph, and chew up a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah, all 3 of their backs do a nice job of, you know, running the ball hard, staying in bounds, and really just moving the chains.
From the 40, Greer goes in motion. He'll block for Paxton Rose. He's able to work his way down to around the 37-yard line.
A late penalty flag there.
Well, the official went down. He's a little shaken up. Help to his feet. When the flag's at the 40-yard line, that's the line of scrimmage. Well, they're still attending the official there. It is a hold against Lakewood St. Edward. So that makes a big difference in the drive.
Yeah, and like I said, that call was behind the play and late. So, you know, Harding definitely gets a break right there.
So a good crowd has made the trek from Trumbull County here tonight. I've seen some other people outside of the Warren area in attendance here this evening. And everybody in the back of their mind still waiting for a comeback. From the 50 now. Second down and long for St. Ed's. They'll need 18 yards for a first down. Off the roll, Gardner throws, pass deflected. It went off the hands of his tight end, Alexander Spooner, and that was dangerous because anytime that pass gets deflected, the Raiders are always around it and have a shot for the interception.
Yeah, Spooner went up one-handed. I don't know if he gave a full effort on that. It was a little bit high and, you know, got some pressure. He's able to step up in the pocket and throw to that big tight end. And he said that's a couple feet away from being intercepted. So brings up a big third down play here.
And every time Anthony Gardner goes back to throw, the only thing that runs through my mind is interception because the Raiders' speed in that secondary lends itself to an opportunity to not only make the pick, but return it for 6. And now on 3rd and long from midfield, Gardner out of the gun, may throw again. After the fake to Rose, he'll go on the ground. Anthony Hoke has him knock the ball loose, and Hoke recovers for the Raiders. Harding has the ball at the Eagles' 48, and you might sense a comeback now.
You know, that whole drive, every single tackle, more than tackling, the Harding defenders were going after the ball, and Hoke wrapped him up and went right for the ball, was able to strip it out of there. Didn't think they were going to pass there. He kept the ball. There you see Hoke went right for the ball, able to rip it out of there and recover his own fumble there. What a nice job by Anthony Hoke.
So the Raiders get the turnover. Second fumble recovery they've had tonight. First time, the ball was recovered by Ben Elser, but the Raiders were unable to capitalize. Now they'll start from the St. Ed's 47, and Harding trails 21-7, and they desperately need a score here. Ingram out of the gun. Davis the lone setback. Swing pass, Richard Davis. In the flat, runs it down to the 40-yard line. Tackled by Norman. Assisted on the play by James Harrison, and the Raiders will run a no-huddle attack now after the gain of 7.
Little swing pass to Richardson, gets some good yardage, and now the Raiders on the attack, moving very quickly.
Ingram with time, delivers, pass, cut by Jonte Stroud. Makes the grab at the 35, push back, but they'll give him forward progress for a gain of 5 and a first down. For Davis, he made his 15th grab of the year. Stroud now with his 12th reception of the season.
Yeah, Stroud caught that high, and I thought on the way down that ball might come loose, but give credit to Jonte Stroud for hanging on to that ball.
8:50 left in the game. Harding trailing 21-7. They were down by 21 points as they look to continue the comeback. Fake to Davis. Ingram will keep it himself. Bumped off his stride, almost stayed on his feet long enough to pick up a few extra yards. It was Neil Jareb who knocked him down. Ingram still manages to run the football down to the Eagles' 22-yard line.
And you can see Ingram out there. He's being the field general. He's yelling to his, his offensive lineman, hurry up, get on the ball. But now we're going to have a little break in the action. St. Ed's calls a timeout.
Yeah, good timeout for the Eagles of Lakewood St. Edwards to try and slow the Raiders down. But Warren Harding's on the attack. 8 minutes and 29 seconds left in the game. It is Lakewood St. Ed's 21, Warren Harding 7. We'll see if the Raiders can keep the comeback alive. You're watching playoff football on Fox 1762. 22-yard line. Jareb looking to blitz. They'll swing the pass to Richard Davis. Gets it down to the 21-yard line. Edge recognized that very quickly. It was Ryan Rappich who made the eventual tackle on the play.
Yeah, they did a nice job of getting outside to stop Richardson. To stop Richard Davis. And Davis probably should have tried to get out of bounds here. He looks like he turns it up and right there. Looks like he gets ready for that Nakamura tackle instead of getting out of bounds.
Gain of just 1. Ingram to throw. Pressured by Norman. Delivers to Finnessy. Cannot hang on at the 15-yard line. So now it is 3rd down for Warren Harding.
I realize Harding's in a hurry, need 2 scores, but I think they're going a little bit too hectic right here. They're rushing the play in. I think they're rushing to get it off and just have to settle down a little bit and play their game.
Now the officials will stop play here. They want Lakewood St. Edwards to back off the sideline. The coaching staff is saying, what do you mean? So it is 3rd down from the Eagles' 21 for Warren Harding. Pass to Manningham. They'll let him work one-on-one near sideline. He's still on his feet. Manningham finally out of bounds inside the 5 at the Ed's 4-yard line.
Tell you right before the snap of that ball, that St. Ed's secondary was a little bit confused. They tried to bring a guy over late to Manningham's side and were unable to do it in time. And again, this is what we've seen today, the quick hitches to Manningham. And again, he's outstanding in the open field. Able to make one man miss, gets a push in the back that actually propels him even closer to the end zone.
And it's Nakamura who knocked him out of bounds, but still on 3rd and 9, the Raiders capitalize and now have it 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. For Manningham, 5 catches, 48 yards, including the 17-yarder. Now it's Richard Davis who's in. Touchdown Raiders. And Warren Harding is now a score away from possibly tying the game. For Richard Davis, his 21st rushing touchdown of the year. It's his 22nd score overall.
Here you see Davis, finally that Harding offensive line gets a huge push up front. Richard Davis able to get it into the end zone. I tell you what, you've talked about the psychological aspect of this game, and now you really got to wonder how much it's weighing on St. Ed's mind. Even though they have the lead, even though they're getting the ball, clock's running down, it's a big monkey on their back.
Joe Spain for the extra point. Out of the hold of Pete Sparks. Sparks just sat there. Spain ran right by him, and the point after fails. Sparks and Spain not on the same page. I think Spain felt because the snap wasn't true that Sparks was going to run a fire out of there and look for the 2, and now Harding fails on the point after. And watch it again. See, Spain never had a chance to approach the ball. Sparks
had his hand on the back of the ball. I mean, he couldn't have kicked it out of his hand.
And when Sparks actually did put it down for placement, Spain was already by him, and Sparks didn't see it. So there was no communication there, and the Raiders' point after attempt fails, and we'll find out how critical that is, because Warren Harding will have to go for 2 now the next time they get the football if they wish to tie.
Now that's 2 big special team mistakes tonight. You You had the block punt earlier that resulted in the touchdown, and now with the game on the line, that's just as big as a touchdown, being down that extra point.
Keep in mind, Eds led 13-0. When they went up 19-0, they made the 2-point try to give them a 21-point advantage. Well, the Raiders have come back and scored 2 unanswered touchdowns, and now they will need a 2-point try to pull even with the Eagles. 7:42 left in the game, so there's a lot of time. So it's Anthony Gardner who's gone the distance at quarterback for Eds. Giving to Greer. Hit by Finnessy. Pulled to the ground by Elser. Michael Greer at 223 is a load. And there's a flag, and it'll be assessed against St. Ed's, and the preliminary call is holding.
Yeah, I think you had holding on the left side of that St. Ed's offensive line, and what starts to happen is you get a little bit tired, maybe you get a little bit lazy, so you start to grab, and I think that's what happened here.
Now, both teams have been penalized rather frequently tonight. In fact, for Eds, that's their 10th flag of the game. They've now been assessed 70 yards in infractions. Harding's been flagged 11 times tonight. So this penalty will take the ball back to the Eagles' 9-yard line. And in essence, that's a 12-yard penalty. So it's now first down and 22 from the 9. Out of the I formation. Ralph, do you believe in comebacks?
I've seen it before, and if anybody could do it, this Harding team can.
Give to Adkins. Got away from Phil McNeil initially, but then goes down at the 11. Ben Elser makes the stop for Harding. Gain of 2. 7:10 left in the game. Ed's hanging on to an 8-point lead over Warren Harding.
And you got to believe this is going to be all run for St. Ed's.
They'll take as much time off the clock as they can. We're now inside of 7 minutes left in the game. From the 11, second down and 20. Give to Adkins, looking for a hole. Hit by Hoke and Robinson and pulled to the ground at the 13-yard line. Gain of 2 more yards. Third and long. Ball just shy of the 14 actually. So it's up to the Raiders defense, and there you get a look at Nate McLeod and Ben Elser, inside backer, one of the leaders defensively for Harding. From the 14, third and long. Adkins. Out to the 19-yard line, pick up a 5, far short of the first down. In fact, never even got it back to the original line of scrimmage. So Eds will punt. Harding will get the ball back with still 5 minutes and just a few seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, you know, St. Ed's wanted to get a couple first downs there at least to take some time off the clock, and that holding penalty really comes back to haunt him now because didn't really have a chance to pick up that first down, and now Harding's going to get the ball back with plenty of time on the clock.
Richardson and Walker back deep for the punt. This is Thaddeus Walker. Hit at midfield. Paxton Rose got down there simultaneously. No flag. Nice job on the special teams. Yet Warren Harding now will have half the field to work with. And there you see Paxton Rose making the stop on Thaddeus Walker. Give Walker credit for not fumbling the ball.
Yeah, he did a nice job, and Rose went somewhat over his head. Wasn't a real big hit, but you know, we've seen plays like that before cause that guy to fumble. And you talk about good timing, he was right on top of that ball.
Now, if you want to talk about the drive of a year, this could be it. 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go in regulation. Harding trails 21-13. They have the ball at midfield. Their season hangs in the balance. Ingram delivers. Pass is caught at the 45-yard line. Reception by Jonte Stroud. It's a pickup of nearly 5 yards. Second down, Raiders run the no huddle. Eds will rush 3. Ingram steps up. gains a little something to the 44-yard line, but you only rushed 3, and they still got pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, there's so many defensive backs. There's really nowhere for him to throw the ball. You know, and when Ingram runs, he holds that ball out there. It's a little bit scary. You know, Coach McDaniels probably sweats it, but you know, Alex Ingram is just as good as having another running back there with a running back there with the skill that he has.
Well, you're talking 4-down territory here. So the Raiders still have 2 downs to gain 4 yards. From the 44 of St. Ed's, it's 3rd down for Harding. 4 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. Raiders trying to overcome a 21-point deficit. And now a penalty flag in its delay of the game against the Raiders. Well, we've seen that one too many times tonight.
Yeah, you know, that seemed awfully quick, but they decided to scrap the hurry up after the run, get the play in, and they just took too much time. But
so now the ball moved back to the 49-yard line. Raiders have been flagged 12 times tonight for a total of 85 yards. So instead of 3rd and 4, it's 3rd and 9. Mirando backs off defensively. Ingram given plenty of time, directing traffic. Throws past too tall for Sparks, who ran into Jante Stroud as they both tried to go for the football. And now it's 4th down for Harding. Looks like Joe Kleinsmith a little shaken up on the play.
Alex Ingram had forever and a day to throw this ball. A lot of receivers are trying to mirror him. They both come together a little bit right there. And there you see Kleinsmith get run into a little bit, get shaken up. But on that play, Ryan Atkins was kind of in no man's land. He wasn't sure whether to rush the quarterback or drop back into his zone. And you know, had he come, I think he could have come up with a big sack, but he decided to stay there kind of in the middle and really had no effect there on the play.
Well, Ed's is a little banged up after that last pass. You saw Ryan Mirando, number 33, kind of crawling off the field. And now they are attending to another player. So that gives us a 9 from the 49-yard line for Harding. They converted earlier when they scored their last touchdown on 4th and 9 by giving the ball to Mario Manningham. We'll see what Ingram will do here on 4th down. He has some time to throw. Can he find someone in black? Yes, it's Pete Sparks who makes the catch at the 37-yard line. 1st down for Harding, gain of 12.
I tell you what, you want to talk about poise from the quarterback position. Alex Ingram didn't panic, didn't threaten to run. He just stayed in the pocket, waited for someone to come open, and Pete Sparks comes up with another big catch here tonight.
Sparks also has a 53-yard touchdown reception to his credit. They'll put him down at the 39, still a 1st down after the gain of 10. Ingram throws to Manningham. He's got one-on-one coverage. He'll duck out of bounds. Pushed out of play by Anthony Gardner. But Manningham takes the ball down to the Eagles' 26-yard line. That's a gain of 13 and a 1st down.
St. Ed's is so afraid of making that big mistake against Manningham. They're giving him so much room on the outside that when he catches that ball, he has 10 yards before first contact is even made.
3:36 remaining in regulation. Harding trailed 21-0 midway through the 3rd quarter. They have put together 2 unanswered touchdowns. They're looking for their 3rd here and a chance to tie. Richard Davis, the ball carrier, to the 20-yard line. Davis tackled on the play by Patrick Highland. 3:20 left in the game. Davis with a gain of 6. 2nd down for Warren Harding. Ingram short drop. Lobs over the head of Sparks and the pass is incomplete. So a blown down there. The Raiders have a 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, I think Ingram wanted to do something there with Sparks. Maybe the hitch and go. They tightened up coverage a little bit instead of waiting around, and they just threw the ball out of bounds, stops the clock, able to regroup now. Still 3rd down, a manageable 3rd down. And
Ingram late getting to the huddle. Keep in mind, Harding's been flagged a few times for delay of the game. They can ill afford a 5-yard penalty here. From the Ed's 20. Davis and Richardson the setbacks. And there's the flag for delay of the game. So Harding again absorbs a 5-yard penalty.
You know, there's really no excuse for that. You throw the ball out of bounds, you quickly get over to the huddle, and they showed so much urgency there at the beginning of this drive. Now they're just kind of, you know, although it's good to be relaxed and not jittery, they just
too many flags. Now the ball back to the 25, and it's 3rd and long for Harding. Ingram pumps, throws it too tall for John Richardson, and the pass is incomplete, and it's back to a 4th down predicament for Warren Harding with 3 minutes left in the game.
And again, Ryan Mirando's in the same position that Ryan Atkins was in earlier. Didn't know whether to come on the rush or go out there and guard Richardson. And he makes that completion. That's a big play, but overthrew him there.
Well, Eds takes the timeout. That leaves them 1. 3:05 left in the 4th quarter. And the Eagles are nursing an 8-point lead. But Harding may be down to its final play offensively tonight.
There's only so much magic in that hat, you know, and you get down to these long 4th down plays, you could only do so much. And again, they're in this bad position because of another delay of game call. And it's just so sloppy tonight. It's so unlike the Harding that we've seen all year.
And the Raiders have converted a couple of times on 4th down tonight. But Ralph, that is such a tough position to be in, to have to convert on 4th down each time. But eventually the odds are going to catch you.
Yeah, 4th down is so difficult anyways, but 4th down by 8, 3 minutes left. I mean, the pressure just builds and builds.
And the Raiders have only 2 timeouts remaining. So if they have to give up possession of the ball here, they would not be able to stop Eds in 3 successive plays with timeouts. Manningham and Finney will go to the top of your screen as Tom McDaniels looks on. Sparks at the bottom of the screen. 4th and 9 from the Eagles' 25. Ingram throws for Manningham. Off his hands. Manningham had it at the 14, and it would have been a 1st down. And if he could have gotten around one defender, he could have gotten in. He had Joe Klein-Smith beat, and Manningham had the ball skip off his hands, and the incompletion may have ended the Harding season.
Yeah, not only did he have Manningham right here, and there you see the drop, he also had the back at the top of the screen, Richard Davis out in the flats, and no one was around him. And that sure-handing Manningham tonight really has struggled.
All right, we'll see if the Raiders' defense can hold on here and give the offense one more shot. 3 minutes exactly left in the game. Again, the Raiders have just 2 timeouts remaining.
And you know that Harding defensive line, those linebackers are going to be trying to get that ball out of there just like they did successfully last time Eds had the ball.
It's Greer. Hit by McLeod initially. Greer backs his way out to the 28-yard line for a gain of 3. Clock will run along. The Raiders, I'm sure, will wait until after this play to utilize its next 2 timeouts. Second down for Eds. Out of the stacked die. Give to Atkins. Tackled at the 32-yard line. Stopped on the play by the Raiders. Matt Mann, and now Harding will utilize one of its remaining 2 timeouts. That stops the clock with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game, and Harding still with a hope, trailing 21-13.
Definitely a big play here for the Harding defense, and you know when they were in this position on offense, they got the costly penalty. So I'm certain that St. Ed's is going to rush out to that ball once this whistle blows and try to avoid that same fate. But you know, really, the game is going to turn right here, one way or the other.
Well, if you'd like to order a copy of this game on VHS, all you have to do to place your order is call 1-800-442-2547 during business hours, or you can log on to our website anytime. That's WYFX.com or even WKBN.com to get more information on how to obtain a copy of tonight's game on VHS for your archives. That's if you're not smart enough like Ralph to record the game yourself at home. 2:15 left in the game. From the 32-yard line. Eds will need 3 here on 3rd down. So now that you've used the timeout, you have to stop Eds here. Give to Greer. The Raiders do just that. Anthony Hoke made sure Greer was stopped a yard short. It looked as if the big fullback for St. Ed's was going to get to the 35, but Hoke pulled him back, and now Harding can use its final timeout, and they will have about 2 minutes left to get the ball back one last time.
You know, it's only fitting. You know, I was hoping they didn't get that first down just for drama's sake, you know. You want Warren to get this ball and just have one more shot at it and see what happens. Here you see the big fullback running through the line.
And there you see Hoke pulling him back, keeping him from getting that first down. So it's 4th and 1. Joe Kleinsmith to punt. This will be his 3rd effort of the night. He has averaged 35 yards on his first 2 punts of the game. Mario Manningham and Thaddeus Walker will be deep. Manningham this year is averaging about 11 yards per punt return, his longest 47 yards. Walker averaging almost 20 yards per punt return, his longest 66 yards. The Raiders would take either one of those right now.
And what they won't want to see is an offsides call. They better watch that ball, not listen to the count, and make sure they get this ball back, because an offsides here would be a killer. So you know those coaches are saying watch the ball on the sidelines and give your offense one more shot at this.
Harding can ill afford to come after Kleinsmith. They will not. He'll get the kick away. He sends up a beauty. It's Manningham from the 23. He's still on his feet. If he can find some help, he can make something work. The only problem is he's given way too much ground up. And Manningham also lost the football, and Eds has recovered. So again, Mario Manningham fumbles on a kick return. He did it on a kickoff return. He does it here on a punt return, and Eds will end Warren Harding's season.
You know, Manningham, after dropping that ball on the last possession, really wanted to make something happen, and he tried just about everything he possibly could. And you know, you got to give the kid credit for trying to make a big play, but you dance around there for so long, something bad's going to happen. And
see if we can watch where the ball comes out. Right there, knocked loose by Jacob Reichert, and the Eagles recover. So Harding, which had turned it over with a couple of fumbles in the 3rd quarter, fumbled away the season here in the 4th quarter. And the #1 ranked team in Division I will fall by the boards here tonight. Adkins, the fullback. He'll run it to the 14-yard line. Harding out of timeouts and now out of hope. So after coming from behind to beat Eds a year ago, and even this season, the Eagles will finally gain a small margin of revenge. Down to 1:15 left in the game. Harding will see its season come to a close with a record of 11-1. Eds will move on to the regional championship with a mark of 9-3. Gardner going to keep it himself, just falls to the ground right around the 12-yard line. And now you have less than a minute to go. Now, Ralph, just too many mistakes by Warren Harding tonight, whether it's penalties or turnovers. It put him in too deep a hole to climb out of.
Yeah, you know, for them to come back and win this game, it really would have been a miracle. With the number of turnovers, the penalties, the drop passes, just the poor execution all night. They just never put it together tonight. And, you know, from last Saturday to this Saturday, 2 totally different teams.
Raiders fell behind 7-0 at halftime when Neil Cherub returned a block punt for the first half's only touchdown. Then Anthony Gardner scored 2 rushing touchdowns for St. Ed's in the 3rd quarter to put them up 21-0. Harding rallied furiously with a couple of scores, but their come-from-behind effort will fall short here tonight as the final seconds tick away. Warren Harding's season will come to a disappointing end. It's a final tonight from Fawcett Stadium in Canton. Lakewood St. Edwards finally gets that so-called monkey off its back as the Eagles upset top-ranked Warren Harding. Final tonight, it's St. Ed's 21, Harding 13. When we return, we'll have our KeyBank player of the game and some final comments as you continue to watch the Division I football tournament on Fox 1762. They had 7 different guys carry the ball, even though Ryan Adkins rushed for 127 yards on 17 carries. But when you look at it, maybe who made the biggest impact, I think the guy right there, number 1. That's our KeyBank player of the game. Ralph and I have decided that the one guy who made the biggest impact in the game was number 1. Our KeyBank player of the game tonight comes from Lakewood St. Edward, and it is Joe Kleinsmith, a 6-foot, 175-pound junior. He missed 2 field goals in the game, but Kleinsmith had a big punt near the end of the game, which eventually forced Mario Manningham to fumble. He also blocked a punt and recovered a big fumble early in the third quarter. This is what Kleinsmith did to begin the game, which actually got St. Ed's on top. His block of a punt, which occurred early in the second quarter, allowed Neil Jareb to pick it up. Jareb ran it in for the score, and that was the only touchdown of the first half, but it gave Ed's the confidence it needed to take that big 21-point lead and then eventually hold on for the 8-point mark.